to soul, soul 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 to soul.
Welcome to the show, Soul to Soul Talk Show. Today here again we have with us Sister Carol. Oh, sorry, Sister Leela. Welcome to the show, Sister.
Thank you.
So we were talking about your personal experiences, and I wanted to ask you that who told you, who introduced you to this knowledge, and how did you came into this knowledge?
Okay. Well, I mentioned last time that I was in Australia and I decided to look for my father. Well, I had bought a ticket to London, but a friend was staying in Jakarta in Indonesia, and she said, well, on your way to London, why don't you just come and spend some time with me? Her father was an expat and he was working in the oil industry there, and then you can go. And I said, okay. So I went there and continued my life of fun and self-indulgence in a way. And someone gave me this leaflet and said, you know, it was an Indonesian. He said, this meditation makes you very powerful. And I read it and it said, helps improve your concentration, helps give up bad habits. And I thought, and helps improve your memory. And of course, when you have these bad habits, you lose your concentration, you lose your memory power. And I really needed this. I thought, gosh, I really need this. So I went to a local centre, which actually wasn't so local for me. It was on the other side of Jakarta. And I met an Australian girl there, dressed in a sari, which was unusual. And you know, I went with sort of leotards and things, expecting to do hatha yoga, because it said yoga, you know, and Raj yoga I thought was, so I was about to get, you know, where do I get undressed, you know. But anyway, we started the meditation course, and what she told me made so much sense about being a soul, a point of light, the point of energy that sits in the brain. And it seemed so obvious to me that this must be the way, that I thought everyone must know this, and I'd missed out on this education. I mean, this is part of my lack of self-respect also, that I would think that lots of people, the world could know about something that I didn't know. That would be quite normal, the way I thought of myself at that time. But we couldn't really finish the course because I had to leave Indonesia on the following week. My visa was expiring on the Friday, I remembered. And by chance, she was coming to Madhuban on the Friday. And I wasn't able to get to the centre, really. So we did 2 more lessons. And I said, well, it looks like I have to go, but I'm not quite sure if I should stay here longer, or I'm thinking maybe I should go to Israel, spirituality bouncing off the walls there. And we had a meditation. And in the meditation, she had this very powerful thought. This child is looking for her father. Bring her to Madhuban. She said that. It came to her as a thought. You know, this child is looking for her father. Bring her to Madhuban. And so she said, this isn't really very usual, because normally to go to Mount Abu, to Madhuban, you need to have been practicing yoga for 6 months, 8 months. But I'm going on the same day that you're having to fly out. Would you like to come with me? I'll have to check first that it's okay. And then if you like, you can come. So I arrived, I thought of it overnight, and I thought, I was afraid of India, but I thought, well, I'll never get another chance like this again. So why not? So you know, less than a week later, I arrived in Mumbai. And it was a very frightening place in those days, especially at my age. And I waited there until her plane came in. And then we travelled up to Mount Abu. And I started picking up more bits of information. But in those days, it was a lot more easy in a way, because the crowds weren't so big, and you know, personal people could bring someone in. So I actually stayed in training section, which is the area now for teachers. And I landed in this area of Pandap Bhavan in Mount Abu with senior sisters. And so I really dived into the deep end. but it was a wonderful, fascinating experience. And I was very challenged, though, at the time, because the challenges were, you know, is this a sect? Who are these people? What do they want from me? You know, I'm young and impressionable, and in those days there had just been this situation of somewhere in South America, hundreds of people committing suicide in the name of some religion. So I was very wary of anything that looked like I look today. You know, anything that had a uniform institution, I mean, I was dead against. But I knew that this was good for me, for my learning concentration, giving up bad habits, improving my memory. So for 10 days, I'd accept it for 10 days. You know, that was my idea. And also another feeling that I had at the time was, why are all these people so nice to me? What do they want from me? People I didn't know coming and saying, oh, you've just arrived, and I wasn't used to this. You know, there's very much this feeling that I give you something, you give me something. And it was inside me also. So why are all these people being so nice to me? And I was very suspicious. What do these people want from me? And then gradually, I realized they don't want anything from me. You know, I was thinking, is it money? You know, do they want my soul? What are they going to get me to do with it once they've got it? You know, and I couldn't find anything, and there was no guru getting rich. The daddies, who were the heads of the organization, were living in simple rooms, simple life, as daddy's always boasting, empty pockets. She's just serving. It was very hard to accept that this organization might be for real, you know, but I have to say, in 10 days I left here with a changed life, a changed diet, a changed perception of the world, and very relieved somewhere. I felt a huge sense of relief that there could be goodness in the world, that there could be truth somewhere. Yes, it was a very powerful experience. This was in 1984.
People who have just one parent tend to trust nobody. So was it so easy or hard for you to trust an organization based in India and leaving your country and coming to India and trusting an organization like this?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all, because you know, I didn't trust myself to start with, and I'd been brought up in a very usury society where everyone used everyone for whatever reason. So, and also the Indian culture is very, very foreign, and they have completely different sets of rules. You know, to how one, you know, Indians are separate and foreigners are separate in many ways. And I was thinking, well, why is that? Why are we separated like this? Here we're being taught that we're the soul, and you know, and so we should all be treated the same way. But we were finding that Indians were kept in one, and the reason for this was because we as foreigners are much more liberal, you know, with what we do. A small example is that we very easily share a cup, you know, or you want a drink, we'll share a drink, or you know, finish, I can't eat the rest of this, will you finish it? This is horrifying to an Indian. And when I first came, I thought this was really too much, you know, why, I haven't got germs, why do you think, why wouldn't you take from my, why can't I put food back that hasn't been eaten, you know? And strangely enough, it's been proven now scientifically that if you take a piece of DNA from your saliva, some DNA, and they did this experiment where they put it in a vacuum, and they put the person in a room and had them undergo various stimulating experiences, whether sad or happy or angry or whatever, so they're watching a movie. And as they were reacting to this, the DNA was adjusting in another room, so it was actually following their emotions. Okay. So on a very subtle level, what this told me is that in fact the sharing of these things means that I can influence somebody, or I will be influenced by somebody else. If maybe even just a little bit of their DNA has come in, it can affect mine also. because another experiment that was done was that this DNA would then affect the other DNA around it. So all of these little precautions, now they're proving scientifically, but in those days it just seemed to me pedantic dogma. You know, I mean, that's an example, the only one I can think of straight away. But there were many like this, about clothing, about the way we treat each other and things. But now I respect it more than the habits of the West, you know. I see even in the villages here, the respect they give to guests, the respect they give to the old people. I mean, there is so much to learn about this, that the reason that things are falling down in the West is because there isn't this respect and regard given anymore. And I've really learnt that here. You know, the villagers in a way have maintained this humility.
What exactly took you towards Raj Yoga meditation?
It was a combination of things, but I have to say the first thing that struck me was the knowledge. See, I had a very strong intellect. As I mentioned, I was in this high IQ society. So I used to think everything through. This meant that if I could figure things out intellectually, I would accept it. So when I first arrived, you know, even the knowledge was completely new to me. I mean, I'd come from linear thinking. I had to think cyclically. It was, oh no, this can't be right. No, this doesn't make any sense at all.
That was totally different, yeah.
Yes, and totally different. So, you know, we say here that you have Maya. Maya is illusion, doubt, and she's a temptress also. And so she's trying to pull you away from realization, Maya. So we always watch out for this so-called influence of Maya. And I had a lot of Maya in that I doubted a lot the knowledge I got, but then I would think it through and yes, that makes sense. My heart was actually quite shrunken, even broken in many ways. And so it was through my intellect, through it making total sense, that slowly I allowed my heart to open up and trust a little, to trust that the people and the relationships would start to form, because it all made so much sense. And then you know, the idea that there is a supreme soul, that there is a part that a benevolent being can play in this world, that mankind has got ourselves into this mess, we can't get ourselves out of it. This I could see clearly. I was afraid to believe in a God, because, you know, I'd been brought up with the idea that religion is the opiate of the masses, and that people who believe in God are because they need a crutch to walk on, and that most people in asylums are religious. You know, such ideas had made me very afraid to consider that there could be an external benevolent influence, force, power that I could connect with. And when I actually started to have these experiences, these yoga experiences, these divine experiences, that I could say, yes, this power, this benevolent being does exist, and I can directly contact and connect with that energy, that beautiful energy, and that I can have different relationships with that energy also. I mean, all of this is a new thinking, and this is what Raj Yoga is about. So this is what finally attracted me. Not only that this knowledge was so unique, and the experience too was so unique, that this combination is what really convinced me and then
took you towards Raj Yoga meditation.
Yeah. I don't always wear a sari. When I'm at work, you know, I change my clothes, but here I'm a spiritual student, so I feel that this is appropriate here. Yes.
So, how was your journey from an atheist to in believing God?
A slow one. Because actually this journey is one of recognition. And we can only recognize to the degree that I myself have had realization. If my mind is caught up in external things, what I have to do, what so and so is doing, and if my mind and intellect are caught up in things that are making me heavy and pulling me down, then I'm not getting any closer to that Supreme Soul, to my Supreme Father. And because I have all these personality traits and I had a lot to transform, it took me some time. It has taken me some time to get here. But something I've been told and I understand and I've seen is that the time is changing. Things are speeding up. And what it took me a long time to achieve from 1984 until today, someone coming now to learn meditation can learn really fast and can have experiences very, very quickly. Because not only is time conducive to it, but our experiences in a way are communicated to them. And also people are on their own preparing. Even though they may not be here meditating in a group, it's like something in us starts preparing for this beforehand. We start looking for more in our life. You know, we may be successful in work. You don't have to have been an alcoholic. You don't have to have been, rock bottom. We could be very successfully professionally. We could have a lot of friends. From external appearances, everyone could think, oh, they have everything in life. But inside, I may be feeling there's something missing. I need more satisfaction, more fulfillment. When such people come, they move ahead very fast.
What connection or what relation do you have with God?
It changes all the time according to the need. Just recently I've experienced him as my teacher.
As a teacher?
As a teacher. I mean, every day I have different relationships, but I just had this experience of what it is to be an instrument and not to have the feeling that I am doing something, that this is my responsibility. It's something that I've understood for 28 years, that this is something to aim for, that I could be an instrument of God, a messenger of God. There's no higher vocation, but to actually experience it and to be that requires some realization. And so, sometimes life presents opportunities where you can be an instrument, and that happens when I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people, and I'm the person to do it. I shouldn't get any ego about that. It's been given to me, it's fallen into my hands because I'm in that situation and I recognize what needs to be done. So I do it. But how did those circumstances come about? Did I make those circumstances come about? No way. Did I bring me to this point all on my own, that I can take all the credit and praise for being able to contribute in this way? No way. So this is how, this subtle power can bring about teaching. And that's one relationship. Otherwise, with the family, the father is very strong. And friend, at different times. I spend a lot of time in Goa these days. I've been sent there on service, and I feel the influence of Baba, if I may say, very much as a friend when I'm there.
So we had a great conversation with you, sister, and have a nice day to you and to you too, audience.